Smite Pro League starts again tomorrow, and so we're going to be talking about the games the whole weekend we've got going on. The 4th, we've got 2 matches. The 5th, we've got 2 matches. Of course, the biggest thing is that these games are going to be played online due to the whole stay-at-home order thing. Shout out to the Rona. We've got that happening, so we're going to see teams playing online, which will be a thing. Before we jump into these matches, shout out to the sponsors, MetaThreads, use code FDOT. Also, I want to mention the fact that these games are online, and so there will be extra variables. We talk a lot about the atmosphere of LAN, and coming to the studio is actually a thing. You know, these players get into their zone and they have a routine. And anytime you mess with a pro player's routine, you're kind of messing with their process, so to speak. So there's that. It might not be a super huge factor, but it is something that's going to be interesting. A lot of with what we have to do when we talk about team performance, LAN specific, is take 2 things into account. One is the crowd, which doesn't come into play in the studio, but all the other people do. We've got admins and team owners and usually like significant others, etc., that show up, and that can change an atmosphere. I don't really put too much stock in that. And also seeing your opponent, sometimes that is a variable. So of all these variables that I mentioned, I'm not really too concerned about them. Here is one thing I am thinking about. When teams play at the studio, per the rules, unless they've been changed for this season, what happens is there's a special room for the coaches to sit in. And the coaches get to watch the game be played, and they get their team comms, like, you know, as if we were going to a listen-in the entire time. So they get to listen to all 5 members of their team talking. They're basically sitting in the Mumble channel or Discord or TeamSpeak, whatever they use, right? They're sitting there in the zone, listening to their team, watching the game. But they cannot communicate back until after the game. So the game, like, Game 1 starts and Slaney's out there and picks and bans doing his thing, and then they lock the gods in. Slaney says goodbye, pats everybody on the back, and then goes to the coach's room. And then him and Coach Rose sit back to back. They watch their own team. They listen to their own team. They watch the game, and they come out and they go back to their team and they go blah, 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 blah. They are not allowed to interact with their team during the game. We might see some of that. Hey, when the cat is gone, the mice will play. When Vinny or Admin Kabam is not like there, why wouldn't a coach say something? It's already happened online, so why not happen again? Especially when the guys are living together. That's neither here nor there. Let's jump into it. Boom. So this is the UI. Again, shout outs to the Smite team for doing this, so I don't have to do anything in After Effects. I've got a beautiful UI to lock in my picks here very easily. How do you get here? Again, shout outs. It's very simple. Esports, click, vote, click. Now, unfortunately, it's not a giant picture of Vote's head. It's, just where you can vote on your team. Sorry, it wasn't that good. Saturday and Sunday. These are our matches. Today's Friday. Let's pretend like I put this out earlier. But anyway, we've got 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And honestly, we start off with one of the more difficult teams to kind of lock down, or matches to lock down. The inaugural game of Smite Season 7 is E United versus Team Rival. E United, Variety, Scream, Herwin, Eonic, Snoopy, Coach Cardiac, and Final K, Sam for Soccer, Captain Twig, PBM, and Panda Cat with Coach Slaney coming through. So again, I look at this E United roster, which this to me is wild. Seeing 92% Team Rival and 7% E United is wild to me. E United is a dummy good team. Variety and Scream are arguably 2 of the best in their position. I think Scream was the best jungler in the league last year, understanding that he didn't win a world championship. I think Scream, no disrespect to the guys on SK Gaming, I think Scream was the best jungler. for my money. And I mean, I have never been the biggest Scary D fan on the field, off the field. Love you, Ronnie. But variety, like, this guy is still the man with the plan in the solo lane. I mean, variety will be checked by Benji if he's feeling it this year. And SOT. That's it. Variety is the best solo laner in the league. And it's been a long time since you could say a statement like that. But Variety's the best solo laner in the league. I left Fine OK off of my off of the other two guys that could contest, specifically because this is the matchup. I think when it comes down to Fine OK versus Variety, it's down to honestly, God matchup. These guys are very, very even as far as overall skill, even though their approach to the game is kind of different. I think Fine OK can kind of understand and play a wider game than Variety, but Variety, when in his channel, is taller than Fino. Now we are comparing, you know, two of the greats, but it's a tough matchup there. But Variety is at the top of his crop. Scream's at the top of his crop. Herwind is, I think, I struggle to call Herwind an underdog these days because everybody kind of loves rooting for Hurry. I don't know. I just like when Tyler wins. It's funny. And Snoopy is whether how strong he will be is a question. I'm very excited to see him on a competitive team in the Smite Pro League. Snoopy is a guy that never gave up, man. Snoopy has always and will always care. His give a shit-attitude is very high, and that matters especially when you're playing online. I think that this will. Listen, when you go to the Smite studio, it's not super professional looking. There's not a ton of people in the crowd. There's not like lights, camera, action. There's not like, it's not this overwhelming experience, but it is going to the office to work, and that gets guys in a zone. And some people might need that. I will mention, Benji specifically might need that. I bring him up all the time. But when I look at Snoopy, he's not the guy that needs that. And so I'm really excited to kind of see E United play this year in general because of Snoopy's addition here. Looking at Rival, these guys have what it takes. I think that E United take this one flat out. Whether or not it's a sweep is one thing, but E United here, like I said, I think Variety and Scream are just too strong. Snoopy fits right on in there. And, I'm not super high on Eonic, but Eonic played very well last year. And I think I will become more like Eonic is getting back into the game. Eonic is getting back into playing at a competitive level. And so what we saw last year wasn't the best support play that we've seen, but it was certainly in the direction, and perhaps more importantly, it gave me the notion that Eonic could improve to be a top level, a top support. We could come to kind of respect that. So I see this here. I do think the thing that Rival has going for them is PBM and Coach Slaney. Again, listen, if given the opportunity, the coach being involved when they might not otherwise be involved could be a big deal. Cardiac is much more a after the fact coach. He's a composition coach. He kind of looks at the overall big picture. Slaney is the guy to call out the small details, and that can work in the middle of a game. Cardiac, I'd much rather him coach after the game, even if we get to be a little funny with the rules. Slaney could be involved if, that is a thing. I think that might tip Team Rival over here. That said, this spread, 99% by the way, this spread is ridiculous. This should be much closer. This is a hard call, but I go E United here. Pittsburgh Knights, Ghost Gaming. PK, we got Scary D, Cuvo, Paul, Neoma, and Zapman, Coach Chuckles. This is the World Championship team from last year, except they have changed junglers. Sam for soccer, for Cuvo Fred. My opinion, they have upgraded junglers. Cuvo Fred, I think, is the stronger jungler between him and Sam for soccer. And that's with no disrespect to Sam. If anything, that's a tip of the hat to Cuvo Fred using Sam as a baseline. I do think this is an upgrade for the Knights in general. We'll see how well Cuvo works with everybody. Across the way is Ghost Gaming, Benji adapting Big Man Tings, Aurora, Cyclone Spin, and then, of course, Coach Biggie. This is the team to be afraid of, I think. Aurora, Cyclone Spin, Benji adapting on the same team are really scary. And this is finally, I feel like I finally get to drop the other shoe here, because I've spent seasons on seasons on seasons and basically talking shit about Salt Machine. I have sat here for so many seasons saying that Benji is one of the best players if you just give him the chance. Benji needs a catalyst. Benji needs a reason for him to care. And when we look at Benji and we go back and we look at his performance on Enemy when Chaos was playing, shout outs to Chaos. Baba Yaga's sick, by the way, if you're watching this, Chaos, I love you, baby. When he was playing with that team, there was this mentality. They were almost there, man, and that fed it. And as Benji continued in his career, I don't think he ever got that feeling of that type of competition. That competitive drive just wasn't there on a lot of his teams for a myriad of options that we don't, for a myriad of reasons that we don't really have to dive deep into. But because Benji wasn't in the right atmosphere, I don't think he necessarily put his best foot forward, whether it was intentional or otherwise. When you play at this level, there are a lot of things that shape the type of gameplay you can export. And this is the type of atmosphere that Benji needs. Having adapting on Benji's side of the jungle is going to do wonders for Benji. Adapting is one of the most competitive players on the planet. And although there is a small chance that maybe it drives Benji into the ground and he completely shuts down and doesn't want to deal with it, I think that is not the case. I think that this is the type of team between Aurora, between adapting, I just think this is the type of squad that catalyzes Benji into the player that he can be. So again, I feel very good about this season because Benji, again, getting on my Stephen A. Smith, I like this dude. He's a good friend of mine. We have had great times. I love this dude, man. But he just has not been a player that I could talk positively about because he just hasn't had the chutzpah that he had once upon a time. This is the team that brings him back. This is the team that makes him incredible. And he is going to demolish Scary D here. Cuvo Fred and adapting are an even match. I mean, that's, we've been watching Cuvo Fred and adapting for 7 years. 7 years now we've been watching these guys play. Yeah, that's insane. Everywhere else, I think Knights do well here. I think Paul beats up Big Man Tings. The dual lane is a coin flip. And the coaches... Chuckles does a lot of work. Chuckles stays out of the spotlight a little bit more, specifically because he wasn't here for the regular season last year, but Chuckles does the work. But I'm putting my eggs in the Benji basket here. I'm putting my eggs in the Benji basket. I would not be surprised if Knights do win this one. They are, or excuse me, I'm not going to water down my picks. Ghost are going to win, but I don't think I'll have egg on my face if Knights take this. They are the defending world champions and they have upgraded their roster from last year. I have so much faith in the Benji adapting package. These guys are going to, they are going to push each other to the limit. Ghost Gaming are going to be fantastic, and they're going to be fantastic because Benji is going to be returned to form. Ghost Gaming locked on in. Sanguine versus Obey. I think these numbers are wrong. When we look at Sanguine, they have 11% of the vote, and 88% of the people are wrong. I don't know what else to say about this one. Sanguine are the Latin American boys. Shout outs to Sanguine. Shout outs to the org. Shout outs to the team. There's so many good things about this squad. Check out the video that I made about these guys. I'm very excited. Hardcore, Panatom, Shinto, Rongyu, and Netrioid. Coach Oxy is along for the ride as well against Obey Alliance, Ducky, Weekend, Wolfie, Inbound, Wowie, and Coach Cassier. I love that Coach Cassier is coaching this team because they are officially the heart team. Obey Alliance, that is, right? Wolfie is back, and not 2032. Wolfie, mid lane, old rival team, Wolfie, right? Dude, he's back. We love Wolfie. That's so cool that he's back here, man. You know, Wowie has always been the underdog hunter. He is usually just as good as the guys at the top level, but struggles to find a team or has a weird god pool. Shout outs to Cupid. Like, Wowie just hasn't. Inbound is here. Everybody's favorite console player. We love Bobby, right? Bobby's our dude. Weekend. Remember that song "Love Me or Hate Me" by the biggest. Never mind. Nobody needs to remember. What was her name? Anyway, she has a side ponytail. She was English. Anyway, and Ducky, come on, Ducky is the SPL sweetheart. Everybody loves Ducky, and that dude fucks. But like, they're not going to win this. They're just not going to win this. They're not going to win this. Even if you didn't see the community tournament where Sanguine booty spanked some of the teams that nobody expected them to, I would have said that they weren't going to win this. I want to root for. Everybody wants to root for this team. Coach Cassier is the wonderful guy from Spain that is adorable and stepped in and won the game on the Kuzenbo, right? Sylvanas they're not going to win it. Sorry. Put your money on Sanguine, and everybody here is wrong. Everybody here is wrong, and it's sad. I'm sorry Ducky has to start the season off with a loss. I apologize. But, you know, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Space Station Gaming versus Renegades. SSG is basically the Renegades from last year. Nika, Cherio, Dardes, Raffer, and Vote with Coach Tigris. And Renegades, Solo or Troll, Lasbra, Venenu, Awesome Jake, Barracuda with Coach Rowe, which is basically sort of Space Station from last year. This is a weird one. Yeah, Space Station win this one. Nika, Cherio, Dardes, Raffer, Vote. This was my team to win Worlds last year, except they had Funball in that carry position. Now they have Vote in that carry position, which is arguably an upgrade. I think a lot of people, maybe I'm just biased. A lot of times, historically, I've put Funball higher than he deserves. I admit that. And so this is probably an upgrade. If I'm going to call Cubo Fred an upgrade over Sanford Soccer, I think I have to call Vote an upgrade over Funball. However, I've always loved Funball's play, man. So screw me, whatever, dude. But Space Station Gaming, Renegades, Solo or Troll, and Lasbra. That right side of the map is incredible. Solo or Troll was Rookie of the Year last year. Scream, if he's a rookie, I don't really know how to feel about the Scream's not a rookie. He couldn't play. He took 1 year off. He's not a rookie. SOT, Rookie of the Year last year. Like, Solo or Troll is one of my favorite young players to watch in the Smite Pro League. Full stop. He's incredible. And Lasbra will finally get to start a season in his natural position. I got so mad last year because he... Very happy about the right side of this Renegades roster. When we look at Venenu, when we look at Awesome Jake 408, when we look at Barracuda, good players. Listen, I will never complain, and that's the result of having 8 teams in your league. Every team has good players. So Venenu, Barracuda, I've got no beef with these guys. These guys are strong players, and they are top 8 in the world. Think about that. They are, but in juxtaposition to the rest of the league, I'm not so sure. Barracuda had an upswing last year. And if Renegades are going to win, Barracuda is going to have to be the guy. Venenu is a role player, and he is one of the, if not the best player that you want in that position to just kind of like sit back, do what needs to happen, maybe go 6-0 on a Nuwa here and there, but like in general is going to just let the other guys drive. Solo Troll, Lasmer, and Barracuda can absolutely do that. This team can find themselves some wins, but against Space Station Gaming, I do not expect these wins to come. Space Station is a better team overall. Dardas is one of the best players in the game. Raffer is one of the best players in the game. Nika and Cherio do very, very well. Vote's very strong. The coach situation, no disrespect to Tigris. The coach situation, no disrespect to Tigris, but I don't know how astute she is at the game when it comes to, I don't know what her coach level is at. Rowe is a known quantity. He is a great coach. He does his job very well. He has done so for a number of years at the pro league level. There's no reason to doubt this guy, So I think the Renegades have the upper hand when it comes to the coaching, but SSG is a team that every team needs coaching, but for Space Station, this Space Station team to play against this Renegades team, I don't think they need the coaching. Sorry, folks. This is iRaffer and the SSG boyos. And that be that. So we're going against the grain for United in match number 1, which is the toughest one to call. This is absolutely the toughest one to call. I'm leaning on Variety and Scream and Snoopy to do the absolute hard carrying here. Knights and Ghost Gaming, we're going Ghost Gaming because I think Benji and Adapting are going to be the toughest deuce duo to handle in the pro league. I think that Benji and Adapting are going to run people. Sanguine against the grain here. People love Obey and they are a fun team to love, but realistically, lo siento, Sanguine are going to take this easy peasy. And Space Station, listen, Space Station Gaming was my vote to win the Worlds last year, and they got better. So yes, they are going to beat Awesome Jake 408. I'm really eager to see how that kid does, though. I want to see how Awesome Jake does. For now, that's going to be those games. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and then after this weekend, we'll reflect on the games and see how they all went. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff that I'm supposed to say. And, oh, they're just cutting me off? Like, boom, 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 Oh, I'm supposed to go here first. Ooh.